Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. This is episode 3 of podcast in the bathroom because my kids are sleeping. Yeah, hashtag relatable. Anyways, today's episode is more of why I think being a stay at home mom is way harder than keeping a job. Now, let me just have this disclaimer going off where this is my personal opinion because this is the experience that I've had, and obviously anybody else's experience will be validated. It's totally okay to have your own experiences. It's totally okay to not agree with my experiences and say I'm wrong, but this is something that I've experienced, so I'm gonna speak out about it. So I have been working since I was 16 years old when I had my O level examinations. Every time I'd have a summer which I was free, my mom would tell me to go off to work. So I have been working on off, and the second I graduated, I got my bachelor's degree. I had a full time job, I was working properly. I've worked for a really, really long time, right up until I had my first kid, which is quite a long time. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm digressing. Yeah. So the topic that I'm discussing is why it's harder being a mom. I feel like especially for me, I'm somebody who loves change, who loves constantly doing new things or learning new things. And in fact, I'm the kind of person every 2.5 to 2 years, I would switch my job because I would get bored of it or I'd feel like I'm not having enough growth. And when you're a stay-at-home mom, it's not like you can just wake up one day and go like, oh, I want to switch. Let me just send my resume to a bunch of other firms. No, you can't do that. You're stuck with that for the rest of your life. You have to feed, bathe, dress, play, everything. You're going to do that with your kid, right? You can't really switch it around, which is kind of tough, especially for somebody like me. And the other thing is, it's not like you have an out, you don't have a break, you don't have holidays or Sundays off, whether it's Saturdays, Sundays, whatever, Fridays, half days. You don't get those. You get a 24/7 job. It's mentally, emotionally, and physically draining. It's something that requires you at your 100% of the time. And it's not the best because there are times when you're pissed off, when you're upset, when you're sick. You can't take sick days off as a mom. You gotta be there for your kid, whether they might be sick themselves when you're sick. So you don't get that choice where you're like, oh, I'm gonna take a break. And even with just like a supportive partner, like I feel like I mean, at least I feel like I have a supportive partner. You still have to be their mom. And as a stay-at-home mom, you don't get that choice where you're like, today I don't want to be a mom to my kids. No, you still gotta get up in the morning. You still gotta give them breakfast. Your kid, at least your 3-year-old or your toddler, will stand on top of your head and go like, I want to eat breakfast, or I want to eat this and that, and I'm hungry, and give me milk, and now I have to pee, and I have to feed this. Or they're gonna sit there and have a tantrum in front of you. So it's not like you have that choice where you're like, you know what, today I'm gonna ignore my kids. Can't do that. I got 2 kids. I have a newborn who's gonna be pooping every 3 to 4 hours. I have a toddler who's gonna have a toddler tantrum at least 3 to 4 times a day. So it's not like I have a choice where I can just drop everything and do that, right? I'm not saying jobs are easier. Like, hear me out. I'm not saying jobs are, I think I said the other way around. I'm not saying jobs are more difficult or more easier. It's just that my experience or my experiential learning was as such where I find that jobs were much easier to deal with. You had adults you had to deal with. I could talk to them, you could reason with them. I could step away from them if I didn't want to, talk to them or just talk to them professionally. But you can't do that with your own kid, right? You know that meme where on Instagram or like on TikTok, I think I saw it somewhere, where you're like, oh, whose baby is this? I'm gonna give this baby to their mom, and then the camera pans to the mom's face and like, oh no, I'm the mom. Yeah, that's the feeling. Yes, I understand. So exactly, basically you cannot leave your kid. You're going to be In fact, to the extent of when I'm in the bathroom, my child is going to be knocking on the door going like, I also have to pee. Which is the most annoying feeling because you just went in to pee. Or when your kids are crying. Like there have been times when my toddler and my newborn have been crying at the same time. And for me, it gets so frustrating where I just want to scream and yell at my toddler because obviously my baby is not going to understand my yelling. And I just want to scream at my toddler at that time, which is really, really shitty of me. But there are emotions that you can't help all the time and every time, which isn't the best thing in the world, right? Yeah, so in my opinion, I do feel like being a stay-at-home mom is much harder because you're also dealing with the cooking and the cleaning and the I feel like the worst thing is that you're sitting in a house all day and the only people, like actual people you have to interact with are your kids. Like there isn't an actual adult that you're dealing with, so that just makes it 10 times worse because that kid isn't really relating to you or understanding you, and they're just looking at you as their superhero, manager, mom, whatever, right? You don't get that out. So yeah, I mean, you can I would love to hear your opinions if anybody wants to comment or let me know on what they feel like, whether they think stay-at-home mom's harder or is it harder as a career mom or whatever, you experience something. Love to hear in the comments down below. Anyways, thanks for listening and tune in next time for podcast in the bathroom because my kids are sleeping. Thanks for listening. Bye.